The Ugandan Realtor presents the Property Hour. It's informative, inclusive, and up-to-date. Tune in every Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. on Next Radio to get the latest in the real estate sector. From real estate financing, trends, construction, land-related matters, property rights, to directly engaging with key industry stakeholders. Tune in on Next Radio on 106.1 FM, StarTimes Channel 243 on TV, or download the Next Radio app. And if you're in the diaspora, just click www.nextradio.co.ug/live. The Property Hour, powered by Penthouse Inn, Namugongo, Pyramid Housing, and HK Properties Uganda. The Property Hour with the Ugandan Realtor.
Good evening, listeners and viewers. It is 5 minutes past 8 p.m. and we are live on Next Radio 106.1 FM, and it is the Visual and Audio Property Hour premiere show. Tonight, we will be getting you this show every Monday with me, your host, Charabaila Alice Karimani, the Ugandan Realtor. We'll be taking you through all the way from 8 to 9 p.m. Tonight being the premiere show, we ain't just premiering, we ain't just introducing to the show, but as well, we are kick-starting the show with a very, very interesting topic. But before we go into the topic and digest it kindly, I would love us to know about the Property Hour. The Property Hour is going to be a platform that is going to be bridging the information gap in the real estate industry. It's a platform where we are going to have experts come and share their opinions. We are going to have people's experiences. We are going to have their knowledge and skills so that we can be able to understand the real estate sector in Uganda. And tonight, our topic as we premiere the show is, we would like to know the status of housing in Uganda. That is Uganda a housing bubble? I would like to appreciate housing before I could introduce our panelists tonight who are going to take us through. Housing is a very capital asset, and it plays a critical role in the economy. It is not questionable. For example, it contributes to the production of the country, it contributes to the savings, the income, the employment, the investment, name it all. But majorly, it plays a very fundamental role. It is a basic need. And you, the listener or viewer, wherever you're listening from, tonight, you all need the housing unit, at least to have as shelter, even if it's not for commercial purposes. We all need it. And this is a concern to Uganda's regulatory bodies. It is a concern to the legislators as well. It is a concern to the housing practitioners. That is why tonight we have someone from the government, but the Honorable Minister of Housing, though he is late, caught up in a State House meeting in Entebbe, but he'll be joining us later on. As well, we have a renowned and a legend in the real estate industry, JWB Mwesigwa, engineer. We will be knowing much about him as the show goes on as well. We have another renowned housing developer by the names of Innocent Muchurezi. We are going to hear from them. They are going to introduce themselves. And basically that was to give us an introduction about the housing sector. But remember to live stream with us on www.nextradio.co.ug/live, especially to the Ugandans in the diaspora. Kindly live stream with us because you need this information more than anyone else. We'll be going into a short break, and when we come back, we are going to hear from our panelists tonight.
Have you always dreamt of owning a beautiful, spacious, and luxurious home? Then look no further. At HK Properties, we have mastered the craft of building quality and spacious apartments equipped with top-notch amenities like gymnasiums, swimming pools, ample parking, to mention but a few. Each apartment comes with a private condominium title and individual utility meters. Our various residences located in Mutungo and Bukasa offer 2 and 3 bedroomed apartments affordably. We also take installment payments to lessen the financial strain of obtaining a home in one lump sum transaction. Whatever your ideal home is, HK Properties will give you something to fit the bill. For more information, please call us on 0758 274 389.
Welcome back from the break. We are still on the Property Hour live here on Next Radio 106.1 FM as well. You can catch us live on www.nextradio.co.ug/live, and all our social media platforms, that is the Ugandan Realtor on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You can put your questions there, especially as we go on into the discussion. Kindly, you can write your questions and we'll be able to answer them back. Back to our topic, but before I get into our topic, I would like to give an ideal introduction of our panelists tonight related to our topic, which is whether Uganda is actually a housing bubble or not. But before I go into that, I would like to appreciate us, with me and you, the listeners and viewers tonight, I would like us to appreciate what a housing bubble is. A housing bubble is best described by a pyramid format. A pyramid has three corners. It has the topmost corner, it has a corner to the left and a corner to the right. In the housing sector, we put a developer or a standpoint of production on the top of the pyramid. And then to the right, we put what we call consumers. A consumer could be myself or you who is listening to me tonight. Someone who would love to purchase, for example, a home for themselves. And then we have to the left where we have a funder. A funder could be through your savings, or it could be a banker, or it could be any other form of funding, as you are going to hear from our panelists tonight. And so we want to know, is Uganda's sector, for example, does it fit in the pyramid format? Is it stable? Or rather, there is an imbalance? Or it does not exist? We want to know. Between me and you, I am not aware as well. I'm waiting to listen from our experts. I would like to know, do we have more consumers on the market, for example, than the developers? Do we have more housing units? I'll give an example of Uganda's population as of today, as of the UN data on 11th of September 2020. It said that Uganda is at 46.7 million people. So we would like to know, for example, is Uganda in position, for example, to accommodate at least 3/4? Here we are looking at, for example, a family unit. If we have about 24 units in Uganda, then that means we are able to at least accommodate family units of the 46 million people. We are going to know tonight whether we are safe to put our monies in the housing sector, or whether it is deadly and we rather go to other things. We rather go and do some agriculture, fishing, of the sort. Listeners and viewers, I cannot wait myself to listen from the experts, because I myself, I do not know. I want to know whether the housing sector is at the verge of falling apart, or whether it is on a safer side. I'm going to introduce officially our panelists, and I'm going to start with Engineer Hans J.W. Mwesigwa. He is an expert in construction project management for 38 years. Wow. Between me and you, I think that is really, really quite a big experience as well. He holds a master's degree in building construction from Europe, trained and worked in both the Czech Republic and Germany up to 1984. And then he is a past president of the Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers of Uganda. But as of today, I think he is heading a board that checks with quality construction in Uganda. He is going to tell us more about that. He has very, very many accreditations that I cannot mention here tonight, but there is something important that we have to know about him. He is a great publisher, especially in the construction industry. And then we'll be joined by the Honorable Minister, who is on their way from the States, from the State House. We pray that he will be on time to catch us tonight. And then we have a renowned housing developer and property practitioner, that is Innocent Muchulezi. This is one of the people that I know from my experience in the real estate industry that at least started the real estate education in Uganda. We used to think real estate is, for anyone, for people who are on the streets. It is no longer like that. Listeners and viewers, you can join the industry. It is now a profession. We have education in Uganda where we are recognizing the realtors. So kindly check out, I think we have it at MOOBS and in Nkozi as of now, and many other universities are taking up the same. As well, myself, your host, Chair of Vaila Alice Korimani, I have been in the sector for about 9 years now. I am just a baby to these experts tonight, but as well, I do the real estate and construction legal legalities rather as well. I run a company which does condominium property management. That is it for the introductions tonight, and I am going to go to our questions tonight. But before I can go into our questions tonight, it's very important to know that this Property Hour program is proudly powered by HK Properties Uganda, a leading one of the condominium housing developing companies in Uganda in very many areas, in Bukasa, Muyenga, Entebbe, Mutungo. For all your condominium apartments, you can always check out their website, HK Properties Uganda, and get to know what they're doing as well. Penthouse in Namugongo and Moyo. To the people who love to cross over the Nile, kindly you can check out Penthouse Namugongo. And also, the Property Hour is proudly powered by Pyramid Housing Uganda. We'll go into a short break, and when we come back right away, we shall digest the topic. Thank you.
Penthouse Inn for all your relaxation and luxurious living. Well-designed standard deluxe, honeymoon and presidential suites, equipped with the best restaurant for your fine dining, an in-house private bar and backbenchers lounge, known for getting well-manicured gardens for parties and corporate outdoor activities. Secure parking, executive conference hall with a capacity of 20 people, plus a paid shuttle service to and from your destination, including the airport. Located in Namugongo, Nsawo Community Estate, house number 51 and in Moyo. For more information, contact us on 0779 510 710 or email us info@penthouseins.com or visit www.penthouseins.com and on social media at Penthouse Inn, Namugongo and Moyo. Expert opinion.
Listeners and viewers, we are still live on the Property Hour, and now we are going to digest our topic tonight. If you're there wondering exactly whether the housing sector in Uganda is in danger or whether it is safe for you to invest in, kindly listen in as well. You can put your questions on our social media platforms, and the experts will get back to you with the answers. Engineer Hans, our question tonight is, we would love to know, is Uganda a housing bubble? You have the expertise of 38 years in the sector. What do you think is the future of Uganda's housing and construction sector? Would you describe it as inconsistent and on its way to a housing bubble, or is it stable and profitable?
Thank you, Viola. Your words are inconsistency, stability, and profitable. My words are, those who play by the rules are going to find it, and are already finding it, very stable, very profitable. Those who don't, they are going to become losers. And I'll take it according to the three on the pyramid that you mentioned, which is true, that the construction industry and the housing dances around the pyramid. The developers have to be there to develop the houses for you. That's one point. The other point is the consumer, who normally is the person who goes and buys and utilizes what has been developed. And the other one is the funder. As you rightly alluded, he can be the consumer himself out of his meager resources or using banks, various ways. Now, let's start with the developers. The good news are going to be for those who are, as I said, do work in accordance with the rules of the game. What are these? A developer has to know that if he's not developing such that he maximizes profit, but it's not maximizing profit alone, he also maximizes the four other needful that the consumers want. The quality of the building, the time allocated with which to do the building, the ABCs of profitability. So those developers who are doing it, and many are not doing it properly today. I hope and pray my colleague, it seems, is among those who are doing it properly, but he'll be having his own story. Then, So, losers will be there, winners will be there, and so this bubble you talk about, for some it's not, because Uganda has a big housing lag, big. We can't catch up with it. But there are those who have already built houses and no one has taken them up for rent. So that's a paradox. Then we come to the funders. The funders can only survive. And up to now they are surviving, because if you hear that a mortgage can get an interest rate of 15%, whereas outside there you hear 3%, and yet they exist, it means for them it is good news, but they will have better news if those rates could plummet the interest rates. And there are ways of doing it. So in short, your question is, or my answer is, there are those who will be winners and those who will be losers. The winners will have to adhere to the rules of the game of doing cost-effective properties, because there is a big market around. And for once they do the properties so expensively, they are in the long run going to lose out when others come up and do the proper work.
Wow. Thank you, Engineer Hans. You just emphasized on the rules of the game. Innocent. Rules of the game. I think you are the managing director of Serena Heights Apartments, and I think you are in a better position to tell us from your experience around the market in general whether Uganda's industry is actually taking on the rules of the game, or whether, like he said, the losers will be those who ain't taking on the rules of the game, so that we know whether we are in a bubble and about to crash the market or on a safer side. Over to you, Innocent.
Thank you, Viola, and my elder, Mr. Engineer Hans. Listening to you, one, I realize that when an elder talks, a young person may not really follow the good words, but it's good to, of course, associate with elders. Rules of the game. Yes, Hans talked about rules of the game. I rightly agree with him. But he also should talk about that real estate development is a game of numbers. You must play, you must balance both. You must balance the rules, and then you must also look at the numbers. And once you put,
agree.
Yes, once we put those two together, then, like you rightly put it, the people who are following specific steps, controls, measures, playing by the rules, will flourish, will not have issues with development. And I also agree with you that the market is there. The market, we are not anywhere near having the bubble, like Viola, you rightly put it. The bubble is many years away from today. But again, if you don't follow the rules of the game, then the bubble catches up with you immediately. The market is the same for all of us. He who follows what the market has to offer will always flourish. Yes.
And maybe I can chip in.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
And expound on the rules of the game. For the accountants and business people, now the businessman's rule, simple rule is do something at a cost, market it at a better, bigger cost, and maximize the profit. But of course, without minimizing some of the things that could render your product completely useless and unsellable.
Yes. Can I just cut you short there?
Yes.
Yes, Innocent.
Hans actually talked about this point, which I had wanted to mention. Maximizing profits for a developer may not really be the primary objective. The profits will come if you play by the rules of the game, like you rightly put it. The profits will come if what you promise is what you deliver. The profits will come if, at the end of the day, you're proud of your product. You're selling your product, and you're 100% sure that if Hans won't buy it, then Viola will buy it. But if you go into this business putting profits as the goal, at the end, like this is what you're looking at, then you might really collapse along the way. So let's not look at the profits as if it's the core reason why developers go into this business.
But Innocent, if I could interject a bit, Engineer Hans and yourself, you're trying to tell a listener and a viewer out there that yes, fine, we have rules of the game. And if it so happens that there is a housing developer that is following these rules, then we have the pyramid stable. All right?
Oh, yep.
In most cases.
Yep.
But then a listener out there would be wondering, especially to you, Innocent, as the housing developer tonight that people are listening to, from your experience as the practicing housing developer in Uganda, how prepared is the real estate or housing industry? Should we unfortunately find ourselves in a housing bubble? Let's assume we are not on the rules of the game. Or are we rather on the rules or not?
Have you always dreamt of owning a beautiful, spacious and luxurious home? Then look no further. At HK Properties, we have mastered the craft of building quality and spacious apartments equipped with top-notch amenities like gymnasiums, swimming pools, ample parking to mention but a few. Each apartment comes with a private condominium title and individual utility meters. Our various residences located in Mutungo and Bukasa offer 2 and 3 bedroomed apartments affordably. We also take installment payments to lessen the financial strain of obtaining a home in one lump sum transaction. Whatever your ideal home is, HK Properties will give you something to fit the bill. For more information, please call us on 0758 274 389.
If you look at a strategic investor and a strategic developer, a bubble is something that you could take advantage of. If, for instance, I'm 100% sure, because a bubble is basically too much money chasing too few properties. If a person came and whispered in my ear that in the next 2 years, Uganda is going to have a lot of money in circulation, say because of oil, because of any other, then I would rush into development. And then I will also speculate and know that within a certain period, this immediate demand will fade away. Having a strategic developer wait for the money to come in or prepare for that money to come in is not a bad thing, in my opinion. I don't know what Engineer Hans has to say.
Engineer Hans, what do you have to say in that regard?
No, I entirely agree with Innocent. But maybe I wanted to give you the rules of the game.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
For the accountants, they like the 3 E's. And these days they even add to make them 4. Their effectiveness, efficiency, and economy. Meaning, whatever you're going to put up, if it is a house of residence, for example, is it effective? Is it really working and doing as a house of residence? So you have garages upside down and maybe not enough space for parking. Things that will make an estate unattractable. Now, it comes to the second word where professionalism comes in, efficiency. Are you designing them efficiently? Building them efficiently? Yes. Using whatever materials, whatever you talk about, you use efficiently. Last but not least, are you being economic? Or you're simply anticipating, I don't mind, I will just come out. So those 3 E's, for the accountants, for the business community, for what, they like to talk about those. Currently, there's also equity, which is by the law, we really have to appreciate and understand that, for example, there are issues of environment, there are issues of people with disabilities. We must also cater for those. That becomes the 4th E. So that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it, which is commonly done by professionals and project managers and what, is to look at the 4 things that you want in place. And every developer must do that. 1, are you doing your scope, all that you want to do? Or will you, along the way, fall short and you have the product? So the whole scope. Number 2, cost. Are you within the cost that you budgeted? Number 3, time. Is it going to take you 10 years where you thought it was going to be 3 years? Time is money. Number 5 or number 4, last but not least, quality. You don't give quality, you perish. 20 years ago, you couldn't give quality. We were seeing we had nowhere to go, so we entered your house. But tomorrow we shall enter the house of that one who has given. So those are the rules of the game. I thought I would qualify.
Thank you so much, Engineer Hans. You have put the rules of the game loud and clear. But my question is, fine, we are looking at the quality, but recently you have been appointed the chairman board of...
No, I'm not really chairman. I give service to this national building review board.
Okay, thank you. There has been this board that has been put in place. And what I see from the government side is we are so much emphasizing on the quality. We are so much, which is a good thing. We appreciate that as the people in the sector. But tonight's question is looking at the state of the housing sector. By looking at the state of the housing sector, fine, comes with quality, supply, investment, and so on. But my passion tonight, or someone listening out there, would love us to at least come up and look at the lowest Ugandan income earner. Someone who is a border rider, for example. They take home UGX 10,000 in the evening. Are these people in position, for example, to acquire a family unit? Do we just say that we have a deficit of housing in Uganda, which is the fact. We have a deficit of housing in Uganda. But Innocent, I would like us to look into this. What are we going to do as the, especially from you, the board people, what are you going to do? Those were the questions to the minister, and I'm sure you're in a very good position also to address them because you are on the same route with him. So kindly, I would like a listener and a viewer out there to appreciate whether the government of Uganda is considering that lowest earner, and as far as ownership of a housing unit, a family housing unit is concerned. Because I see if we don't have them, for example, acquiring these houses, then it is more or less of a bubble. Because if we don't have people, we have houses, we have a housing deficit, but then the people who are there also on the market can't afford these houses. So from your experience, Engineer Hans, what are you planning to do for these people? What should people expect, for example, from the government of Uganda, so that at least we know, as far as we have a housing deficit in Uganda, like we are setting it tonight on the Property Hour, people would love to know what else for that person who can't afford that house, which is at least on the market.
Well, I thank you very much. Well, I don't want to be a spokesman of government, but I can also tell you what government could do and what it has done. And therefore, how the housing sector can follow the rules and sort out the problem of the lower income earners or low-cost housing schemes that we normally talk about. In my vocabulary, I don't have low-cost housing.
Thank you.
I use appropriate cost housing. So you have to know that a government gives you the infrastructure. That's what every developer needs. If there's electricity going the other places, the roads and all that, and I do believe government is trying, but I don't want to enter that lane too much in that lane. So once the infrastructure is there, and of laws and regulations in the building construction, then you hope that the developers, they are not fools. They know how to calculate. Yes. They are really the cleverest. They know where the coin is. For example, doing massive construction for the rich, you can do it. But you know that the poor, they are many, many times more than these are the medium and high class.
They can't afford.
So a developer is up to him to say, instead of doing 300 units, let me do 1,000 or 2,000. So that question can only be answered to say, as we develop and the rules of the game are adhered to, many developers will find it. Another thing that the government can do is really to increase to make sure that there is earning power. Now, whether it is through salaries, whether it is through incentives, whether it is what. Because you have this majority of the people you're talking about. But actually, if at the end of the day, he brings in peanuts, that peanuts will go into other things, food. Yeah. But if it was going somewhere, it would cost out of the 44 million, or 30 million, or 20 million that need housing. It could possibly cost a tiny chunk of the salary. So those would be the scenarios. Either way, whether it is low cost or appropriate, high or what, there is a big market.
Thank you so much, Engineer Hans. That takes me to you, Innocent. Housing bubble could be a supply bubble, could be a pricing bubble, could be an investment bubble. From what Engineer Hans is trying to tell us is at least we have a bit of investments in Uganda, though it is not enough. That's why we still have the deficit. As a housing developer, what is your comment on property pricing as far as a pricing bubble is concerned?
Thank you, Viola, and thank you, Engineer Hans. You know the price. By the time a developer comes up with a price of a property, the price is a function of too many things. You just don't sit down and say, I'll put up a house in Chigo and I'll sell it at $100,000. There are a lot of dynamics. You know, housing is expensive. You cannot, like Hans rightly put it, you cannot talk about affordable or cheap houses in Uganda. The materials alone won't allow you to get cheaper houses. If you look at the cost of cement, for example, in the last few months, cement has gone up from about 27,000 to 31. And all developers use almost more or less the same cement. So by the time I come up with a price, I have to look at the cost of construction. How much am I going to spend on this house before it comes out? And sometimes you have also to play with the rules of the game, like he says. You have to look at the market and segment it and know. If my target market is, for instance, the corporates, how much money are they earning? And if I put up houses within the range of 100 million, will a corporate in Uganda be able to afford that house? Yeah? So you'll find there is demand, and then there is effective demand. People will come and say, yes, I'm interested, but can you turn that demand into effective demand? That's where the problem is.
So, Innocent, are you saying that the property pricing in Uganda is in the rightful manner?
It is, 100%. It's a function, because construction is per square meter. I think Engineer Hans knows that very well. If I'm putting up a property, my first calculation is how much am I going to spend per square meter? And houses are looked at in terms of sizes. If I'm putting up an apartment of 200 square meters, how much am I going to spend to produce this apartment? So if I look at $500 per square meter, then the apartment will go to about $100,000. So I have to sell it at slightly more price than that. Otherwise, you cannot sell an apartment at a price less than you're producing it.
So, Innocent, are you saying that someone listening in and viewing maybe from the diaspora right now who does not know what is happening, because someone here will tell them, I have a property of 400,000 USD. What you're trying to say is this person should at least try to relate to the property they're trying to sell to them. Look at the sizes, look at the amenities that come with it to qualify the price of the property.
And look at the location, look at the finishing, look at the other facilities that are offered. There are quite many things.
So prices differ per property. There are very many factors that come up with property pricing. So should we make a statement tonight, Innocent, from you, that the property pricing, and the listeners are in right now, should they take it that at least their property pricing in Uganda is on a safer side, and so we do not anticipate to have a pricing housing bubble in Uganda?
That is too direct, to be honest with you.
And I'm going to disagree.
Yes, because me too. But I'll rightly talk about what we offer as Serena Heights Apartments. When you're coming up with a price, yes, you come up with a price as a result of how much you're putting in. You may not compare yourself with other developers because the motives are different. Like Hans says, the developer, Innocent here, the reason for me to go into development might be different from Hans, who goes into development. There are some luxurious developers. If, for instance, he's coming up with a product and he's a lukewarm seller, he may or may not sell. If I sell, I sell. If I don't sell, it remains there. Then you cannot compare him with Innocent, who goes into business and he's there only to develop and sell.
Thank you so much, Innocent and Engineer Hans. I love the counter argument. Kindly, I would request that let's first go into a short break. It is 14 minutes to 9, and when we come back, we shall have Engineer Hans counter Innocent's argument. Thank you.
Uganda's real estate industry is growing at a very fast rate. It requires professional property management, and that's why at Pyramid Housing, we simplify relationships between all real estate stakeholders by bridging the gap in service delivery and client satisfaction through world-class service and market-leading expertise. And this is through our services of property management, real estate construction, sanitation services, moving and relocation, as well as occupiers representation. Pyramid Housing, defined by expertise.
Welcome back from the break, listeners and viewers tonight, and we're still here on the Property Hour. It is 11 minutes to 9 for us to wind down. But before we wind down tonight, remember that the Property Hour will be bringing you expert opinions as well. We will be taking you to the field to bring you property facts. That is going out and looking out for people's stories exactly. We don't want to stop at the studio where we have experts telling us, just like tonight, we want to hear the stories from you people who are listening in and viewing in. So be ready for us. We are coming for you, and we'll be airing every Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. live on Next Radio 106.1 FM. Engineer Hans and Innocent, thank you so much for your time tonight, and we are going on, but I would like us to be relatable back to our topic tonight, whether we have a housing bubble in Uganda. Someone listening in out there is still wondering, so am I safe to put my money in Uganda? Back to the pyramid. Engineer Hans, this goes to you. A diasporan right now in the UAE is saving their money every day to at least accumulate 50 million UGX, and they would love to invest in the real estate industry in Uganda. Are they on a safer side from tonight's discussion, or they had rather go fishing or grazing?
Obviously, they are on a very, very safe side, as we've been alluding, when they play according to the rules of the game. And I think here we are talking about the pricing. When they are going to price their properties, they are going to make sure that the market reaction to a price has to be counterbalanced by the developmental aspects that they go through. And here again, I want to reiterate that the developers possibly, they need more support from us professionals, from the government.
I agree.
You know? Yeah. The developers also, if they listen more, there are many developers who will not take on an expert for his expertise, and they would rather take on the second hand. You know, I'm not underrating our graduates, but we all have to gain an experience and give it out. So, once again, it's not a bubble for those who are doing correctly through using laws and regulations, using professional methods of design, using proper supervision, checking out the different materials, and ensuring that all the things are done to bring out the quality they are desiring and the cost, and do them within time. But it is disaster, on the other hand, for those who cut short circuit. I will tell you an example. I've been on some sites, actually many sites, and I enter and I find this wall, massive wall, a thickness that could have been far less. That's a piece of etc. cement, etc. sand, etc. time that it was used, etc. manpower. And money. And so by the time you sum up a building, gurus of construction would have simulated it on the computers, would have done 3D, you look at it, would have pointed out that on day one I must do this, day two I must do this, would have done all the things possible to ensure that within, and then there's no...
Thank you so much, Engineer Hans. We have comments coming in on our social media platforms here on Twitter, and someone is saying that the developer, consumer, and funder are key items when looking at the quality of building. That is, says Engineer Hans, and that is very true. That relates to our pyramid tonight, if I'm right. Thank you so much. Another person is saying that the 1995 Constitution grants land ownership rights solely to citizens of Uganda. Foreigners cannot own land freehold. They may, however, obtain leases for 49 99 years. Foreigners can either rent, stroke, lease from citizens of Uganda or government. That is Esther Birungi on Twitter. Thank you so much, Esther. But I think that is a question that is to do with ownership of property. And tonight we were trying to look at the state, whether we actually at a better level in the housing sector or whether we are the verge of collapsing. Esther, don't worry, Birungi will be taking you through the property ownership in our next programs, because the Property Hour is a series. We are not stopping at knowing the state of the housing sector, but we are going to take you deep into all topics. There is no topic that will be off-bound. We are going to take you through and you're going to understand more time. We have only 6 minutes to end the show. Innocent, kindly, back to you. We would love to hear your comment on the Pyramid Drive. Is Uganda on a safe side, or there is rather an imbalance and we are about to collapse? We better run out of the industry like tonight.
Thank you, Viola. Uganda is very safe. And I think it's possibly the safest country to invest in when it comes to real estate. Looking at the numbers themselves, they speak for, numbers speak for themselves. If you look at the return on investment on property, in fact, every now and then I see people talk about return on investment in different countries. I just say these people don't even know how properties gain value in Uganda. A good strategic investor would really place their money in real estate. There's nowhere else that you can put money and it is very safe. Like Engineer Hans rightly puts it, the investors must be able to identify good developers. You must be able to visit and see what kind of developer you are going to take your money on. If you go for any developer, then you're likely to get any property. And sometimes don't be deceived by price. You can be deceived by price and a person tells you have a house of 150 million and you say, wow, I'm going for a cheaper house. But you're buying problems. So identify good developers, partner with them, put your money where you think it's going to be safe, and this money will make more money for you. No bubble in the next 10, 20 years. Maybe after 20 years, we can start thinking about the bubble. As far as we are concerned now, we are prepared. All I can say is that developers are prepared. Once money comes in, we shall be able to give you more houses.
Thank you so much, Innocent. Someone out there, feel free. These are words of the experts that we can rely on. Expert opinion, by the way, also carries some legality in it. So it is very okay. We are safe tonight. The experts are telling us that we are safe on the housing sector. As we wind up the show tonight, kindly, I would love us at least to give some recommendations out in the market. At you, Engineer Hans, just briefly, in about a minute from now, kindly, this question goes to you. The housing sector is poised for robust economic growth, declining inflation, a large rental market, and good yields. What more would you as an expert wish to see in this very industry of housing / real estate?
For me, my simple wish is this. Developers, let them think twice. Let them develop appropriately. Let them utilize the services of the available professionals. Let them manage their properties very well, so that at the end of the day, they can come up with good properties at the least cost, but with quality. That's my biggest wish. Then the other wish is obviously what should be going on if the minister was here. That government should put in all the different things that they can in order to make it feasible. One way is to make sure that they train the Ugandans to take over and do construction. Then the prices will plummet and we shall catch up, but it's a long way, because we still need many houses. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Hans. Indeed, the minister had very many questions tonight for Ugandans, but then there was a directive from the president that he couldn't go over with, but we know we shall get to him. The show is still here, and we are going to have him, and he's going to take on this very topic, and you are going to hear his views. Innocent, over to you. Kindly, your recommendations as a housing developer. What would you love to see in place so that Uganda remains on a safer side before its market of the housing crashes?
Yeah, in addition to what Hans said about training and hiring experts, I had told him earlier that the experts are really cheap in Uganda. So the issue of hiring an expert, to me, for us, is not a big one. We have as many experts as because a good engineer doesn't take home more than 3 million or 4 million. So you can even afford, especially graduates, you can afford to hire 10 if you are in a bigger project like ours. The issues that I see are basically with the economy. Maybe if the minister was here, I would have put it to him. The corporates are earning little money, and they are the biggest population of this country. So we are going to have to sit down with them as Serena Heights Apartments and come up with a package that can help them. But of course, we need to see people who are earning certain amounts of money take a good, decent property, not anything they find on the market.
Thank you so much, Innocent. And tonight, the 14th of September 2020, we have officially premiered the Property Hour show live here on Next Radio 106.1 FM. As well to the diasporans, we insist and emphasize on you kindly always live stream on www.nextradio.co.ug/live and on TV. Check out 243 channel on Star Times to keep with us. Remember that we are inclusive, informative, and up to date. Have a good night.